Does this latest installment in the Conjuring universe live up to the thrills and chills of its predecessors, or is it over-reliant on jump scares and predictable horror tropes?
Trash!
We'll give you our real take on The Nun right now.
Hello everyone, Real Screeners here. Today we have a special guest joining us who accompanied us to the Alamo Draft House to check out The Nun.
Yeah, I see you brought the snake. Why did you bring the snake back?
Oh, the snake.
You're supposed to leave the snake in the theater in the movie.
That is our special guest, but I'm talking about our human special guest.
Oh, okay.
Michelle.
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming with us.
The Nun is the latest entry in the Conjuring universe and is directed by Corin Hardy, an up-and-comer. So let's get right into the ridiculous premise. This movie takes place in 1950s Romania. A nun commits suicide at this Romanian convent, and the Vatican all of a sudden decides to send a up-and-coming nun along with a priest who has some experience with exorcisms and supernatural cases to investigate this nun's suicide and the causes behind it. Thaisa Farmiga plays Sister Irene, a nun who hasn't fully finished her vows yet, and of course she is the younger sister of Vera Farmiga, who famously plays the roles in the earlier Conjuring 1 and 2.
The priest, Father Burke, who is an exorcist, is played by Damien Bashir, who is known from the hit TV show Weeds.
Okay, and then you also have this guy named Jonas Bouquet, who plays this guy named Frenchie, a Frenchman who is their guide through Romania, and who, by the way, has the hots for our nun.
I'm gonna start by saying that I, for one, hated this movie. I think that it is by far the worst entry in the Conjuring universe. I even liked the first Annabelle better, which that one was pretty horrible as well. It makes the first Conjuring look like an all-time horror classic.
So you're telling me you don't appreciate a movie that is just filled with all these different horror tropes that are so predictable, and you have fog everywhere, and you have people playing hide and seek? I mean, that didn't really engage you?
Oh, you mean filled with predictable horror trash and no storyline?
That wasn't thrilling? Oh, come on.
I mean, you have a movie called The Nun, right? Except that there's no story about the nun. I mean, don't you really want to find out more background information about the nun? If you're going to take, like, what is considered one of the, most intriguing characters from this universe, and you're gonna devote an entire movie about her, and you come to find that it's just like a stupid demon, like, what is this? Like, I wanted more of a storyline behind this famous evil creature.
And exactly, if it's so famous, right, and so evil, I mean, how about a little bit more information as opposed to just, oh, look, it came from the ground.
Yeah, and that's it. The movie also has like a lot of over-the-top frenetic editing. There is no room to breathe, like there's no storyline. It's just like one jump scare after another, scene after scene of hallways and the camera panning into the hallway, out of the hallway, and guess what, guys? Yeah. Guess what's gonna appear in the hallway?
A nun! Yeah, or these panning shots where it goes around the character, like, okay, here comes something, One thing that got me at the very beginning was how the spirit would have these things where it would tease the characters to try to follow it.
Cat and mouse.
Yes, exactly. Come on, how many times are you gonna do that in this film?
Any attempt to be made for any background was just like a real quick flash or an image, and then let's move on.
And let's move on, right? No explanation for anything. Michelle, you should definitely mention the possessed boy.
With the little boy Daniel, I had to start laughing because there's a moment, a scene where they show him being possessed, and he just sounded like the Velociraptor from Jurassic Park. And I just couldn't. I had to really hold myself back from laughing. I'm not one to really watch scary movies, but some of those scenes, they made it not that scary.
Yeah, and that's when you can make a horror film just go completely wrong, when you can't even make a good possession story and it's laughable,
Yeah, you could tell. This movie really, I mean, it started with a decent enough premise, but it really dragged in the middle as they were just trying to, hit you with all these jump scares and just, hey, look, we're a horror movie, and they didn't really develop a compelling plot.
There's this really weird cemetery scene, and it just makes no sense. It's kind of out of nowhere.
It's actually really frustrating. That cemetery scene, it was trying to do maybe a first-person point of view, and the camera was so shaky. I was just trying to see what the heck the camera was focusing on, and I couldn't enjoy or even try to figure out what plot was happening.
depending on who you talk to, some people will say characters make a movie, others will say plot makes a movie. To me, none of these really did a good job in this movie, so yeah, I can't really speak to anything positive. I mean, the actors did a decent enough job, but the writing didn't really put them in a position to succeed. And then, of course, like we said, we trashed the plot already, so I don't have anything really that I saw that stood out about the characters.
You can't really even comment on the acting in this movie because there is no time to really appreciate the acting, you know?
There's no depth into the characters.
There's no depth into these characters, and just when you think that there's going to be a scene that actually reveals something interesting about their backgrounds, like the way that they attempted with the priest and his exorcism background, for example, or even when they talked about the whole, you know, war, World War II being the cause of the awakening of this evil, you know, like it's too short and too simplistic. I think that out of all the actors in this movie, Farmiga probably has the most promising future. Like her older sister, Vera Farmiga, is an excellent actress, and I think that her younger sister is, you know, comparable.
As far as the priest's character, it was frustrating for me, and I love background in characters and stories, and it seemed at the beginning of the film that they touched on some conflict between him and the Vatican, but they never explored that, and it was...
Oh, that's a good point.
It was something I was wondering throughout the whole movie. I was like, what happened? Did the priest do something against the Vatican's beliefs, or what have you? And it was incredibly frustrating.
Just another plot hole to add.
Not to mention, I did struggle understanding what he said on occasion, and I don't know if there was just the sound effects were a little too loud. I'm not quite sure, but there was several points where I was really struggling to understand what the character was saying.
Maybe he just had one too many exorcism and he's just a tortured soul now. You know?
Maybe.
It's hard for him to speak.
Or maybe there was like the sound was overdone and obnoxious.
Or maybe
which is definitely the case.
Yeah, or maybe he just wasn't thrilled about his role because he knew this movie sucked. As far as techniques go, I kind of feel like we've covered most of them, but if there's maybe one more thing I could add, it's that the music was, you know, a little too over dramatic at points, and just one more thing to add to this cliche of horror tropes that they just could not stop doing.
If I had to hear another demon growl,
oh yeah,
obnoxiously loud, I mean, terrible. Just like everything that could go wrong in a horror film went wrong here. The over-the-top music, the weird demon growling and noises for what? There's no time to build up for suspense, and then the CGI. Oh my God! Couldn't be more fake. Couldn't be more fake.
Very flat.
Very flat, very cartoonish, and I felt that the scenes were very dark at times, and you couldn't really appreciate the background and the backdrop of the scenes.
Now, this movie wasn't complete trash. It was mostly trash, but not complete trash. So I can't really give it a 1 reel out of 5 rating, but I will give it about a solid 2.5, because the one thing that I did enjoy about it was that even though I saw all of this coming, hey, I still got some chills throughout the movie, okay? I still got some chills, okay. So I was engaged, but I was more confused than engaged, so I wouldn't recommend you guys go to the theater to watch this.
As far as myself, I feel that for one who doesn't really like scary films or horror films, the comedic relief of Frenchie's character was pleasurable for me. However, if their goal was to scare the audience and to frighten them, I feel like they failed, and so I would give them at most a 2.5 reel.
All right, well. There you go. I like that.
You guys are a little too generous. This movie deserves 2 reels, no more than 2 reels. Do not go watch this movie. Stop with The Last Annabelle. This movie, there was no reason for making it. It adds no value to the Conjuring universe. Everything that The Conjuring did right as far as building up suspense is lost here. I have nothing else to say about this ridiculous film.
I agree with you. If you have to watch this movie or someone forces you to watch it, just make sure you go back and you wash your mouth out with that first Conjuring movie, okay? You'll feel a lot better. That's all we have to say?
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
Let's wrap things up.
Beto,
yeah,
you've got a little something.
Oh yeah, I gotta.
I don't know if you should.
Tell it to go back into your mouth.
I think you should.
The evil is trying to enter me.
I think we need to find someone. Looks like there's a problem.
Father Burke,
or just
someone called Father Burke,
or just put it back in your mouth where it came from, right? Well, we hope you guys enjoyed our real take on The Nun, guys. If you go watch it, I hope that, you guys enjoyed it more than we did, okay? But regardless of what you think about the movie, let us know in the comments down below what you think. Do you agree with us? Or do you think we're being too critical of this movie? Let us know, guys.
Man, I certainly hope that the upcoming Halloween remake and Suspiria are much better than this. I am very hopeful that they will be. But as always, we want to thank the Alamo Drafthouse for always providing great movies and great service. Thank you, Michelle, for joining us.
Thank you guys so much for having me. It was a blast.
And as always, please come back and watch our real take on movies.
And if you're a social media light, like a lot of people out there, go ahead and follow us on Facebook. We are at Real Screeners.
Hello everyone, Real Screeners here. Today we have a special guest who accompanied us to watch...
You have a snake on your head.
That's right, man. What's wrong?
Okay.
You don't think it's appropriate? I do. Hello everyone.
Hello, Beto.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks you.